Dan here, DD Talk Shop. So, it's Monday. I assume it's Monday. On Mondays we talk. People are asking about Murr all the time. It's, you know what, our schedule is so crazy right now, it's just not kind of working out, but we'll have him back at some point because you know what? These hoods all got to come off and you need a senior to help you out with that. Anyway, what really grinds my gears, let's talk about a few things. The first one Danny was talking about. So, obviously, we put ourselves out there all the time, how we do things, and it's not always done to chip foos level restorations, for sure, I understand that. Some of the stuff we do just because it's the internet and it's kind of funny to mess with some of you guys, because man, I tell you, some people really get a little cranky when they see someone else who they don't know across the other side of the planet do whatever the heck they want with no it's like I'm not asking their input, and for some reason that makes you angry with my own money and my own cars, which I
and your own free time
and my free time and all that. I love it, but because we're putting it on the internet, we should be doing it the way they want, and it's in good fun. I never get too upset. I do appreciate all the comments, and I know we lean into them sometimes, but it's just for fun. I've been called so much worse in real life to my face that whatever you guys say doesn't bother me. Challenge accepted. But a few things that came across that, man, between the squirrels and the guys hammering on the roof next door, city life, eh? So actually one thing, speaking of Murr, what he always said many years ago, we're missing a hood bolt here. And I've held true to a lot of things. Sometimes I was better at than others. Danielle with the coughing, I swear. And what he always said was basically, if you can do it, I can do it. Or if someone else can do it, you can do it as well. And I mean, there's obviously some physical limitations and stuff like that. If you're 5'2", you're probably not going to be in the basketball leagues and all those sort of things. But you wish you were 5'2". Come on. But
my license says I'm 5'2".
Yeah, I'm sure mine says my weight's a little different than it is too. Anyway, so it's one of those things. I mean, if someone else can do it, you can do it. It's just about a matter of effort. So I see in the comments all the time, people go, "Oh, I wish I could do what you do," or "I wish this," or "I wish that," and yada yada yada. And I realize I was lucky. I mean, Murr was a high school shop teacher, so I sure learned a heck of a lot off of him, and he had a lot of tools and a lot of opportunity there. And, I think I seized it and I carried on. But that being said, and I mean, and no disrespect to Murr or whatever, I think I've learned more on my own than I did just from him. Like, he showed me the basics. And I will say a lot of stuff I do now is the exact opposite of the way that a journeyman mechanic might actually do it, or teach kids in a shop class. And I mean, again, for you too, when you're working on a customer car, it might be a little different. But you got to remember that. So, don't worry about anything like that. If someone else can do it, you can do it. I mean, between the internet and YouTube and Google, and if you're really old, you can go to the library. I'm sure there's a book on it, and you can just kind of figure it out.
Or you can at least just try.
You could try, for sure.
There's nothing wrong with trying and failing.
Failing sucks.
It sucks, but there's nothing. It's okay to fail.
I think it's like the Rocky quote there. You just got to keep getting back up, or whatever it is. And that, I will stress that a lot of people, they do things and they hit a roadblock and then they give up, and then it's frustrating. And this car's been roadblock central, where we had it together, didn't really run that great. Took it apart, it was a roller, okay, kind of forgot about it. Brought it back, spent all the money, did all the proper things. I mean, hopefully at this point some of these videos are out, but it wouldn't start. It ended up being some bad injectors. And that is something that, I've never encountered before. Bad injectors I've seen and stuff like that. But to have all 8 injectors simply clogged due to sitting, I've never seen that before. Obviously, it's possible. And now it's something to add into the roster. But when this car wasn't running, I was like, okay, well, you check your grounds, you check your ignition, the basics, fuel, spark. And we had fuel pressure. I could hear the pump going. We had gas. We had fuel at the end. Okay, so got to have fuel. I didn't even think that the injectors weren't working. And then, you check the spark. It had spark. Okay, we made sure everything's right. That's good. We even checked power to the injectors themselves. It had power. Like, everything was working. Like, you could have put one of those little node lights on and it would have passed that test because the injector was pulsing. But nothing was coming out. And it's just kind of one of those things. You got to power through and kind of keep going, and then learn from your mistakes, or learn from other people's mistakes. That's my favorite part, and just kind of keep giving her. So I don't know. I definitely, we try. We are looking for a bigger shop, I will say, and we'd like to have maybe a few nicer tools and some nicer equipment here in the not too distant future. Took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of work, and to get there. But that being said, for many years, like, This garage is like the humble zone. This is a 20 by 22. I insulated it myself when I was 19 years old, wired it myself, well, with the help of Murr. And I mean, now, the roof leaks and it's a little slanty and there's a bunch of issues. But the amount of work I've done out of this little garage is, we've done body swaps, we've done full floor pans, we've done all sorts of stuff. At one point, flux core welder's all I had, then it was a big deal when I bought that Miller. And, here we are, but you don't need a whole lot. Now, hey, people can do it outside on gravel, all that sort of stuff. I guess in a lot of ways we have a lot more than some people. But I don't think I've ever had more than like 20 grand worth of tools type thing. It's all no-name stuff. Even my Snap-on things were either presents from Murr, which I'm sure came from either a pawn shop or garage sales, or it was on sale, Princess Auto, Canadian Tire, Harbor Freight, whatever it may be. So don't let that stuff get in your way. Hot Rod Magazine's great to kind of see it there, but don't feel as though if you're not doing what they're doing, you're failing. Just get out there, make it happen, and you can drive it around and have a good time. And as I've learned, a crappy beater car running and driving down the road is way, way, way more fun than a nice car half finished sitting in your garage. So bear in mind with that. What else did you have? I had something that was tied into that. Tying into that, so we write these things down now throughout the week as we read comments or things kind of pop up. I will say, so we're doing the daily videos. I wish I could comment back to every single comment, but it's unbelievable. It's like 300, 400, 500 comments per video, 5-6 videos a week. I try, but at the end of the day, it's easier to kind of respond this way. So, what was it? Oh, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and another way.
Another way.
Oh, okay. So, man, the guys across the street are just buzzsawing. YouTube is a great tool for a lot of things, and
what is this power stance?
It's the Captain Morgan's. But you do something, and I guess it's actually great now because Danny's doing the editing, so I don't really notice as much. Many a time when I was doing a video and then I watch back as I'm editing it and going, oof, man, buddy, you really struggled on that. You probably should have done it a different way. You probably should have stopped, regrouped, done whatever. And and then the comments section really lets you know you could have done it a different way. So shoulda, coulda, woulda. I get it. Once you're done, you can't unpull the trigger. It is what it is. You're kind of halfway there, and you just kind of carry on. At least I do. And for the most part, I don't have a 100% track record, but most things end up together, running and driving better than it was. Maybe it needs a little bit of love down the road, but it kind of is what it is. So, hindsight 2020, all those little Monday morning quarterback. Don't dwell on those things. Don't let other people tell you it's wrong. I'm sure, today, I don't know what this video's coming out, but today's video was those headlight caps going on there. I'm sure I did them wrong. I've done them 3 or 4 times. I've done them different every time. And I'm sure there's somebody on the internet telling me, well, you should have done this, or that's wrong, or you didn't measure this, or you didn't square them up, or whatever. You know what? It's better than it was. It's just metal. It can be cut. It can be fixed. It can do whatever. And guess what? The headlights fit, and it's not full of fiberglass and expanding foam. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. It is what it is. I think that about most things I do. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But unless you're paying some fancy shop to do it, even then, I've seen many cars go through shops and do kind of a rough job. I like Tri-5s. I love Tri-5s, let's be honest. So now I'm getting better and better and better doing the floor pans and all that sort of stuff. But I tell you what, I'm doing a floor pan on that Chevelle right away here. We're just trying to get this thing finished off. I'm gonna screw it up. It's not gonna go in proper. I'm probably gonna cut it and move it and do whatever and weld something funny, but there you go. And then on the next one, I'll have it licked, but I don't plan on doing 10 Chevelles. Tri-5 Chevys, I plan on doing a couple more. I don't know why I love these cars, but I do. And maybe by like the 50th, shoulda, coulda, woulda, I'll have it figured out, hindsight, and I'll do it perfect. What do you think? Think we can get there?
Maybe.
Okay, so let's talk hot rods, cars we have. So we just did the video where I cut up that Healy just for fun. And so obviously it got to the point where the internet or Facebook won that one. It wasn't worth my time to get beat up and harassed and all these things and the endless questions and stuff. And, it's a thing where I guess I got to address it a little bit better. But I didn't fall in love with that car. I thought it would be like the cheap version of a Cobra, and it didn't really do it for me.
You bought it at an auction.
I bought it at an auction. I paid $3,000 for it, whatever it was, $3,500. I bought it as is, where is. Didn't even go look at it. I thought it'd be a little bit cooler, and it was. It wasn't for me in the end. It didn't resonate with any of you guys really. The videos didn't do that great, which I will say is not actually a reason we do it, but it is 1,000 times easier when people are supportive and the comments are good and all that to kind of keep going and putting out the videos. So I wasn't into it. Danny wasn't into it. You guys weren't into it. Looking into titling a kit car is pretty difficult when it has no VIN, no nothing. I didn't even have a legit bill of sale from anybody. It ended up being a bit more of a disaster than I was hoping. I mean, hey, what are you going to do? For $3,000, you take a gamble. It is what it is, and ultimately we made enough videos on that thing that it kind of paid for itself. It wasn't the end of the world there in the end, or we lost a very small amount of money. Didn't have any storage fees on it. It was just kind of was what it was. Lastly, so originally when we first did the video, the lady's, or this daughter of the guy who sold it, she was all, oh, this and that, blah, 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 and she just kind of fell off the face of the earth. We tried contacting her a few times, and then it just didn't care. So I didn't really have any guilt about the car being cut up. I said I'll use the chassis for something, so it's not all gone. It wasn't too long ago. Like I said, there's been a few different kind of fiberglass bodies showing up here and there just to kind of, use and have a good time with, but it just kind of hasn't worked out. Oh, what's going on here? People are just parking in the back lane. So, that's kind of just the way it went, and, such is life. Regrets here and there. Oh, no. Don't smash into my nomads. What are they doing? Maybe let's take a quick break because I'm distracted. Crisis averted. So both nomads are right there in the driveway, and some young lady, I'm sure she's a great driver, was trying to, I don't know what, do a bit of a U-turn in the driveway, which again, I don't use the driveway, I want to turn around, but I was a little nervous with the cars. Anyway, they're fine. They're not any worse than they were. So that's the deal with the Sebring. I mean, it just kind of wasn't meant to be. Some things on the channel work out over the years. I really think we've had a big loss since that C10 I did. I shortened. I wasn't into it. We kind of did an LS swap, which I actually think LS swaps are super oversaturated and whatnot. They're boring videos. No one's watching me. And I will say, actually, I've learned a lot when I do an LS swap video now. They're not how-tos. They're just, this is what I'm doing. Because there is every how-to video out there of how to do an LS swap in a Tri-5 Chevy with any amount of equipment or anything you want. It's been done and it's out there. So Google it, you'll find it. But it's boring. So what we do is fun. Nothing but fun, good stuff, right? So we just focus on the stuff I find interesting and carry on. Which takes us to hot rods. And what do you expect? So that Camaro is gone. We sold it for 16 grand Canadian. Are we switching angles? You want to get my good side? So it's gone, and
Actually, the good side's your wallet.
oh, she's empty right now, I tell you. So people were kind of all over the place. Some people thought it was a steal of a deal. The Americans always think it's a steal of a deal because you guys, you save 30% right off the top just because of where you are. But no one's made the trek across the border yet for it, so I don't feel bad for you for feeling like you lost out. And ultimately, most of those cars went outside of Manitoba. That one actually went very close, which is kind of cool. And it's a neat story. We'll probably be able to follow up on it and check in on that thing. So it's literally just down the block. A shop took it on as a kind of a side project in the wintertime when it gets slow or whatever. They can get the guys working on an old car, and then they kind of sell it in the spring. So it's kind of a neat way to keep the guys employed so they don't lay anyone off. I really like that idea. I think more people should be doing that. And they're just doing it as a driver. So it's like kind of the perfect kind of thing for them. A lot of the hard work's done. They can just go through the brakes and all that sort of stuff and have somebody a nice cruiser for, 30, 40, 50 grand, whatever they decide to go down the road. But, and then this. So, I don't know. I guess we've talked about it a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to price it at. Somewhere between, $12,000 to $15,000 Canadian, depending on how far we take it, how nice it is, how much work it'll be, and then, extra parts can be added in or taken out or whatever. But half the comments were, "You're giving these things away." And I will say, I mean, that Camaro, it was sold, I don't know, the first deal fell through. I listed it the next day, before I went to work at 7:30 in the morning, and by 9 o'clock, the guy who bought it was, messaged me back and forth, and ultimately I had a deposit right when I got home. Like, I literally got home from work, I was still in my work clothes, and the guy was here checking it out. So it was, and there was a bunch of people online, but, man of my word, the first guy to message, the first guys to get to see it, and it went. So could have I got more? Yeah, probably, maybe a couple $1,000s more, but ultimately, it's not worth it. The going fast is nice for me. We have the added benefit of doing a little bit of work, sorry, on YouTube, making a few bucks that way, so we don't got to win in every single direction. Some people were quite upset and thought that was overpriced and I had completely ruined the car and that it would have to be taken down to square one and start again. Dreamers. I mean, everybody. Yeah, you watch Overhauling or whatever it is. You watch the old TLC shows. Yeah, I get it. It comes down to bare metal and you refix everything just absolutely perfect and you metal finish it and this and that. That's not reality, people. That's not how it's done. So pull your heads out of your butts and just enjoy it. It's a regular car. It's a driver. If it was like a big block 4-speed or a Z28 or any of those things, yes, I would understand. You would probably take it to a better level. But to have a driver, there you go. And then this thing, same deal. Were you raising your hand as a question?
Well, I also just think, to consider where we're at in our life right now as well. Like, we're trying to change a little bit. Like, we're looking for property.
Oh, yeah. People are throwing us under the bus like crazies. You've changed. All you're doing is selling stuff. And I'm like, yes, it's terrible. Trust me. If you don't want to watch me sell cars, I don't want to sell cars. I hate it. I love collecting cars. I love buying cars. I love cars. And right now is the fewest cars we've had in quite a long time. Oh, we're down to minimal Tri-5s. All we have is 2 Nomads, 2 57 Chevys, and 1 56. That's all we have for Tri-5 Chevy. But at the end of the day, it's, I love Tri-5 Chevys, and I'd buy every single one if I could. There's guys out there like that with vice grip square bodies. He sees when he buys it, and that's what it is. And that's what I want to be with Tri-5 Chevys. I love these things. And a lot of those cars, seeing them go is pretty sad. But, such is life. We'll get another one.
We're seeing them go to good homes.
Yeah, they're all going to good homes. I can't complain. And the money was good, so it all works out in the end. And hopefully we'll be able to have a new place and be able to get a bunch more and start the fleet all over again, and then hopefully never have to sell a car again. We're moving once. So, I get it. It is what it is. Watching a guy fluff cars up to flip is maybe not what you came to this channel for, and for that I do apologize. I really feel bad about it. But I think this will be the last one that's on the block, and honestly, it's kind of 50-50 whether it even goes. We're past it. We've kind of thrashed. It may be a keeper and just kind of go on the back burner for get another, get it running and driving, then go put it in the field so we can rust a little more. Do another revive and drive on it later on. But yeah, we're back to kind of daily driver content and stuff like that. But back to this car here. So no bones about it, I paid up a little bit for it when I got it as a running driving 4-door, but such is life. The doors and the quarters I paid $1,000 for with the glass. So whether you think that's a good deal or not, I'm not really too sure. But in my mind, it's not the best deal I've got on a 2-door conversion, but it's when they pop up, and it is what it is. So there you go. It's got $1,000 of wheels and tires on it. It's got a $1,000 fuel system in it. I pay $1,000 for the motor. I have $1,000 in the rebuilt transmission, shift kit, and high stall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, call it $4 or $5 grand in add-ons. I think I paid $4 or $5 grand for the car, which is not exactly a good deal. So I'm into this thing 10 grand. Then I've donated all sorts of other parts, aluminum radiator that I had, miscellaneous wiring, crap like that. Oh, the Holly kit was $1,000 or $1,200. It's one of those things where if you wanted this car, so let's say we paint it flat black and it can run and drive, the brakes work, it steers, it does its thing, it has some sort of interior in it. I have every bit of 10 grand in it, for sure. And a lot of labor. A lot of labor. And there you go. So someone wants to beat you up. 2-door conversion, it's junk, it's yellow, it's whatever. go find one, and by all means, if you can do this for $5,000, and I'm sure someone can, then have at it. We also have the added advantage and disadvantage. Where, I mean, again, doing YouTube, we're not hiding anything. We're making money on it. But on the flip side, what are we doing here? On the flip side,
or flipping sides.
Flip that. We have to keep the videos rolling, and if I sit around and wait for parts to come to me, I'm sure I could get a better deal. But you know what? It's going to come at an inopportune time, and ultimately the videos become sporadic, or we're moving around car to car. Sometimes you just have to go and pay. That happened today. Well, just example here, off topic, but the shifter, it has a ratchet shifter and everything was fine. I didn't have the little arm on the side of the transmission. I ran down to the local speed shop. They had it in stock. It was like $40. I wouldn't say it was cheap. It was name brand B&M one, so I have no problem paying it. Support local. I don't know what that would be on. You could probably buy a 10-pack on Amazon for that, because it's stamped out in China. But I didn't have it in stock. We had to carry on. And ultimately, without that piece, the video would not have continued. And even if we got like next day shipping, we wouldn't be able to finish it till tomorrow or the day after. So, you pay and you carry on. That's just the way it goes sometimes. So I had another thing I wanted to talk about, but I totally forget what it was. I was on track for it. On track. This car's great, and it was professionally built, and you should get one yourself. Maybe. Oh, I remember now. I gotta hold more things.
You didn't remember, I told you.
The more things I hold, the more I remember. So speaking of trying to find bits and pieces at a deal, and or whatever you want to call it, as things go, either A, you need a lot of space to store a bunch of random stuff, which I don't want to have a wrecking yard. I will say, going forward, we're looking for some more land. I'm not talking 30 acres. I'm talking 2 or 3 acres. Semi-civilization. I don't want gravel roads. Don't think we're going full crazy here. I know maybe a lot of people have that way. I'd like to have a little bit more room, a little bit more organized, maybe have a little bit more room for a few more cars here, but there's not going to be 15 Tri-5s out back and just destroyed because I need headlight trim or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't want that. That seems like a nightmare to me. I don't want to be on American Pickers when I'm in my wheelchair. I want to, have nice runner drivers. But what I've learned is, in looking for properties, it's a little... Oh, there's a switch on the firewall here. It's a little more difficult, squirrel, than I had originally anticipated, because I guess what we want, we may end up building a little bit of, or buying part of and adding to, because it seems as though if you want a large shop, typically it's kind of out of town, kind of off the beaten path, and stuff like that, which is not really what I want. We're still working full time. I have no interest in quitting my job. I love my job, and I want to keep doing it. So it's not like we're going YouTube full time or any of those sort of things. I mean, I look at Bad Chad, stuff like he's got these giant buildings and stuff like that. But by the looks of it, he's kind of out there. Gravel entrance and all that. I don't want those things. I'm hoping we can maybe in the future get a few nicer cars. I will say this Nomad has kind of opened my eyes a little bit to having a bit of a nicer car. Maybe if that Chevelle becomes painted and that Nova's close to being painted. I don't want to be on gravel roads. Nothing against it if that's what you're into, but I mean, a set of Mickey Thompson Street Slicks is $1,000 for a pair. Those get chewed up on gravel roads, and I don't want to waste money. I don't want to have a thing full of gravel and all that sort of junk. Not that it sounds funny because I like junky things, but I'd like the idea of maybe having a nice car or two and not having to, be super careful about it and bring it in town and then wash it and be like, I don't want that. I want to just drive my stuff. So it's kind of difficult to find a place that's like that, because typically they're big shops, farmland, stuff like that, a little further out of town than we would like. And the stuff in town, a lot of times what like an in town or slightly rural would consider a large shop is like the guy can park his 2 cars and maybe his Corvette in the 3-car garage. So having a realtor understand what we're trying to accomplish is actually quite difficult. So we're battling that out, but we will find something. We're probably going to end up with some sort of a house with some sort of a garage, and then probably the build shop down the road sooner rather than later. But hopefully save a bit of money in the home. We can afford to shop and do all those sort of things. I mean, we sold all these cars. I'm not giving up on the dream. I do want a bit of a shop, which actually takes us to our final point in today's game of Jeopardy or game of life. Apologize for coughing. Don't let it happen again. Oh, the last thing is how I treat Danielle. No, she's fine. We joke around. If you don't get the jokes, then
Actually, I think today when the video comes out is our anniversary.
Well, happy anniversary. I got you a video. There you go.
9 years.
Holy moly. Wow, it's almost time for a new model.
You can't afford a new model.
I know.
You're already on the payment plan.
Payments are rough. Shop design and stuff. So that's the other thing. I see so many shops, and they are a very common shop we've been seeing is a 40 by 60, which is great. But in my mind, a 40 by 60 long, and the doors are on the long side, which is cool. But I always pictured I would find a guy with a car kind of thing, and I picture a Meineke, a Midas, your corner garage where the shop is long, but it has multiple bay doors on it, and you kind of do something like that. So in my mind, and the depth and all these things are kind of funny. Maybe I'm just price conscious or cheap, like my old man. But these giant shops, 40 by 60, 40 by 80, whatever it is, I mean, big roofs, big heating costs, big all sorts of things like that. And ultimately, when you're pulling the cars in, it becomes car Tetris, just a different kind, because the cars have to come out lengthwise. It seems like it's a very common thing. It'd be nice, I guess, you could drive your car with a trailer in and dump it off, and maybe drive out the back door if you have some. But I picture it sideways, and for me, it's like a 30 deep or 32 deep by maybe 40 or 50 wide, with 3 stalls or something in it, and you could maybe even have drop cloths or something like that in between. Have the heating on separate things. So you only heat kind of one area, and the other two can be not as important. I mean, I don't know what all is possible there, but it just seems excessive. Because what I've learned here in having 2 garages, when you're working on this car, the other garage is useless. It's just sitting there. It's a storage garage. We don't have any employees. It's just us. So if I'm in the other garage, this thing sits. If I'm working on this, that thing sits. If I'm working in the driveway on this, they both sit. So to have this giant, man, they're really just firing up all the equipment over there. To have this giant, 40 by 80 shop or 40 by 60 shop, heated or air conditioned or whatever you want to call it, just the lights on the place, you have the entire setup kind of dialed. And like I like Vice Grip's videos, he's got a rather decently sized kind of working barn. He kind of works on the one side, and then you can even see the lights and everything are off on the far side. So he's probably working in a 40 by 40 area with 1 or 2 cars there. So I kind of don't think we need a whole lot more than that, in my mind. So let me know what you think about that. For those of you guys who have either built a shop that's too small, wish you went bigger, or too big and wish you went smaller, and go from there. I also think at a certain point, this may not be every single day of my life, and you don't need to be this giant barn to go outside and fix a stool or something like that. So anyways, those are a thought with Dan, a random thought, but that's where we're at shop-wise. I don't really quite know where we're going to end up. Ultimately, you know what, tomorrow something could show up with a 40 by 100, and I just absolutely love it. We're going to buy it, so don't take this as gospel. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never had the biggest shop I've ever had has been 24 by 26, so what the hell do I know, right? Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I got to get back to cleaning, because somebody, man, those Motor Trend after hours elves, when they come in here and make all that mess, whew, it's a hassle for us full-time day job guys. That's it for me. We're going to get something to eat, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.